All right. Oh, you heard that.
I heard that.
So now we are waiting to sit down, and now we are live. Hello. All right, everyone. How's everybody doing? Welcome to B and T Sports Talk. I am T,
What?
and this dude to my right, left. I don't know where how y'all seeing this. That's B, and so we're here to hopefully get y'all up to date on what's going on in the great world of sports and have a little fun along the way. So if you like what we're saying, go ahead and subscribe. Like, if you don't like it, well, you got options. Move on. So, B, man, I guess, we're going to start with the obvious. You got the hat on. So, let's talk about them Warriors. Interesting game. Great game, in my opinion. But there was some weird stuff that went down. So, man, what's your thoughts on some of this, especially
Well,
the
let's just cut to it. Let's talk about Draymond.
Draymond?
I think
Yeah,
that's what I want to hear about here. So let's talk about Draymond here. I thought it was a legitimate foul. That deserved to be a flagrant foul. He obviously pimp slapped dude right in the face
yeah,
there.
he
So
did.
that was
Yeah, he
legit.
did. Yeah.
But Draymond just doesn't seem the guy to be malicious to be throwing people after the foul. If Draymond, unfortunately, because of his reputation, just like Boogie Cousins, he has the reputation now. But
Right.
from the looks of it, he was trying to just keep the guy in the air. You didn't want him falling on his face, and Draymond's done that to a lot of people. He's kept guys from falling on his face and everything like that. It just, for some reason, turned into a flagrant two, and it just didn't warrant a flagrant two. And I was just mind shocked by that. That the refs wanted to make that kind of an outcome call to to start this off with.
Yeah.
It,
Go ahead, B.
I was just gonna say it could have really changed the way the outcome of this game.
I mean, in my opinion, I think it's definitely a flagrant one for sure. I think,
Yeah,
for them to call a flagrant two in the first half of a playoff game, you don't traditionally see that happen very often, if at all. And so that seemed a little unwarranted. I will say the thing about instant replays, when you go back and you watch it in slow motion, it just looks a lot worse than it was. I mean, and you really get the wind up hand slap on the face first, and then the pulling of the
yeah,
jersey. The one thing I will say about this though is when you're making contact with somebody who's in the air, that's when things get a little hairy. And I think Draymond reaching out to grab the jersey while he was in the air, if he had a fell anyway differently, or if he had a lost his feet underneath him and came down chest or face first, it could have been a much, much worse situation. And Draymond could have been a situation where he would have been suspended for a few games. So I just think Draymond
yeah,
has to be a little bit smarter in how he makes those plays. I know what he's trying to do. He's just trying to make a hard foul, which I completely understand. But ultimately, he could have made the hard foul, which was the initial slap on the face, without having to grab the jersey. And if he would have just did that without pulling on his jersey, I think he would have got away with a flagrant one and probably would have stayed in the game. The other thing is, people always talk about how sometimes with there's no such thing as a home court advantage. I think this is a clear indication that that's a lie. If this same play happens in San Francisco, I don't think they run Draymond in the first half of the game. Um, so
no, not at all.
definitely some home cooking a little bit, but it was a deserved flagrant. I don't think he deserved the two necessarily, and I'm only looking at it from the fact of it's the first half of a playoff game, so you really don't want to run guys so early. But I also think Draymond
Well,
has to
and
be a little smarter next time.
oh yeah, 100%. But it's a new playoff
Right.
series, and there's a lot of hype around all playoff games, but I think this one deserved every single bit of it that it got. And then you kick him out in the first half of the game,
Yeah.
and he was a defensive nightmare for
Right.
Memphis. But it wasn't just him. I think the Warriors did a hell of a job on the defensive end, not allowing for Memphis to do what they've done originally to the Warriors, which was get up and down. If you noticed, all shots the Warriors got back on defense very, very quickly. But they
Right.
made life difficult for Ja Morant in the paint.
They did.
Um, every time he got to the lane, there was a body on him. It was not a smooth lane for John Morant to get to, and he had a couple of highlight reels, but it wasn't. It never changed the course of the game. But they put a body on him every single time. And what Steve Kerr did today with going to GP2 to start the game off with,
Yeah.
instead of Jordan Poole, I think was great, because I will give GP2 all the credit in the world. I think his defense is that much better, and it set the tone against John Morant. But you can't tell me that GP2 is going to be in these games longer than Jordan Poole. Like, Jordan Poole dropped a 31 spot on the bench, and if it wasn't for that 31, the Warriors may not be winning this game.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. And I think GP2 gives you the sort of hustle plays. He gives you the plays that get you the extra possession or the offensive rebound. Or we saw on that free throw towards the end of the game where he comes in and tips the ball. And, he's making all these different, plays to help keep you in it. But again, these are all hustle plays. They're not scoring plays. And you can't substitute having Jordan Poole, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson on the floor at the same time. I think the Warriors did a great job of taking a page from what Minnesota did, which was just wall them off. You had 2 or 3 defenders on Ja once he got into the paint. He tries to jump over or jump through guys, which creates offensive fouls, or in general just creates bad plays, which ultimately lead to turnovers. I think Memphis really got sucked into the 3-point situation late in the game, which really hurt them. They shot a lot of 3-pointers, and it was almost nauseating watching them play basketball on the offensive end. They played so hard defensively, but then they came on the offensive end with 3-4 minutes left in the 3 to 2 minutes left in the game, and the first guy that catches the ball is just taking some 3-point shot. They really didn't force the issue in the paint. The Warriors had no shot blocker in the game for a majority of that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And they played very, very small, and it didn't make any sense to me to watch Memphis take these long 3-point shots. I mean, y'all was giving John Morant the 3. Y'all was like, go ahead, John, take it. And
100%. And that's not a bad idea, because he's not a great 3-point shooter.
No.
He's known for getting to the basket. Now, he made his first 2 threes that they gave him to start the game off with, but after that, they challenged him every single time. They challenged almost the entire lineup for Memphis. The only guy who was shooting lights out was the last person any of us would have expected. Dude, Jackson has the ugliest 3-point shot I've ever seen in my life.
Jaren Jackson Jr.?
Damn,
yeah,
holy shit, dude. He was putting up points.
Hey,
left and
his
right.
shot ain't as bad as Dylan Brooks' jumper looked like atrocious. Like he throw his hand straight up in the air like he answer a question like he in class. Like they called on him in class. I know the answer. It's like, man, he ain't got no gooseneck. Don't bend his arm or nothing. Just, I don't know what the hell that is, man.
He looked like the dude from Along Came Polly. He's shooting, saying, "Let it rain." But the Warriors did a good job challenging Memphis from the 3-point line. They didn't allow Memphis to beat them on the inside as much. A lot of Memphis's points in the last couple of quarters came from behind the arc, courtesy of Jackson.
Yeah.
But you gotta where a lot of credit doesn't go to is Klay Thompson's last 2 possessions. He basically ended the game.
He won the game.
Yep, he hit the big 3-pointer to put him up 1, and then just that disruption on John Morant. If you look at it, his hand was right with the ball, enough to not allow Morant to get it off the backboard there, and that changed the game. Him sagging off to go help GP2 down the paint. John Morant's not pulling up. He's not a jump shooter. He's a guy basket. And I'm not saying that's not saying he's not a bad player, but at the end of the day, that's experience right there. And that's what this series is going to be all about, is you have an experienced playoff team, the most experienced playoff team in these that's left.
Yeah.
Against an inexperienced team. And when you see how the game transpired, there was no panic from the Warriors. They never budged and went into a panic mode. And you saw Memphis kind of starting to do a little more than that they're accustomed to, and it just got out of hand for them at some points. They could have blown the Warriors out. They had a 10-point lead.
Well,
and they couldn't build on it.
Yeah, and it's just what you said. It's the lack of experience or playoff experience. the Warriors know going in they only need one of these next two games. I mean, and that's what veteran teams understand. When you're playing on the road, when you're playing this game, they don't. The Warriors do not have the home court advantage, so they need to get one of the first two games, and they did that. So mission accomplished. So now Memphis might come back, they might win the next game, but ultimately you taking home court advantage back. So as you know, an event team understands that that's what you need to do. They understand how important that game one is, and you really saw that from the players. You saw guys like Jordan Poole again just really, really step up. And I mean, Curry was having an okay game. He wasn't really playing that well. Clay was all right, but really, really made some big shots late. But Jordan Poole was pretty consistent and really gave them a shot in the arm that they needed to keep moving forward, man, and go toe to toe with Memphis, because Memphis defensively was really they were playing tough. I mean, they were playing tough. They were all over the place, but Memphis did not have enough on the offensive end this time around in order to get it done.
Yeah, and they look tired.
Oh
They
yeah,
had just
yeah,
come off of they came off a very tough series against Minnesota, which was a very inexperienced game there. But they're going to get a punch in the mouth here because now they're getting the most veteran team out here left in these
yeah.
playoffs, and it showed. And I don't think Memphis was really anticipating that because Memphis was beating the Warriors up all season. But we all know the season doesn't mean anything until now,
Right.
and this is where it counts here. So that experience over everything else is just it showed today, and I think Memphis may get Tuesday's game. I really think they may get it here. They'll come out even more fired up, but we'll get Draymond back. I mean, I can't be mad. You just can't be mad as a fan because he's doing it for your team. He's
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah.
Like people get upset about it, but it's like Draymond hasn't changed since he's entered the league. Like nothing's changed with him.
Hey man,
If any,
hey look, nothing's changed. You're right. The energy's still there. Let's just be clear. He's annoying as hell. I mean, let's just. I mean, I'm not a Warriors fan. I'm a Laker fan. So he's annoying as hell.
but that
He's
team,
he's like KG on KG but can't shoot. It's annoying as shit, man. And he's just out there hollering and screaming and jumping up and screaming, and all you can do is respect him. I respect him for what he does on the defensive end of the ball. But if you're watching him and you're not a fan of the Warriors, you're gonna look at this guy like this has to be the most annoying player outside of Patrick Beverly, maybe. I think Pat's worse, honestly. But
he's 100%
yeah,
worse. But it's Draymond. But courtesy to Curry pulled the Draymond move too. Did you see Curry swipe towards the end of the
on
game
that last possession,
keep?
yeah.
Yeah, that was pure Draymond-esque, and that's the defensive presence that you're gonna get there.
I
I
just
did miss him on the.
I mean
I miss.
I mean, first off, I knew you knew what play they were running because they put John in behind the half court line. He was in the backcourt,
Yeah.
right? So you kind of knew what it was going to be. You knew it was going to be something where he was going to get a running start going towards the rim. So number one, I would say Memphis play call in that last play was pretty damn predictable. That's number one. The other thing is, he had two guys converge on him the moment that he caught the ball with another, and then Curry did a great job staying with them step for step. But in all honesty, he missed that shot. Okay? Great defense by Steph Curry, but that ball hit the
I think it changed the
that
shot. I think
it
it
did
changed
change the
big
shot, but
time.
the ball hit the backboard. Ball hits the backboard, gotta make it. So I mean, I
Yeah.
think it was a tough shot, and the Warriors did a great job defensively making it tough on Ja. And I just feel like, man, Ja has to really go in his bag this offseason because I don't see them beating the Warriors and really saying, I need to improve my mid-range game. I need to do something about my mid-range because he really looks like his only move is to drive into the paint. And that's too easily predictable. And it makes it so that a lot of times during the game, you'll see him out there on the court and he's passing the ball to other people. He's not the main focus of the offense sometimes, and
Yep.
and a guy that good can't disappear. Not now. So I think he's got to find a way to better himself and be a better all-around player, and not rely so much on his athleticism as much as most young players do. So, and we got a chat from Jerome Bullison Jr. All right, Jerome said Memphis in 7. All right.
Oh, what? Just watch this. Did you see the experience versus the inexperience? I mean, your pick is your pick. Don't get me wrong,
Well,
but come
at the
on,
end,
they just lost home.
he wrote, "I hope so." Maybe that's sick.
Come on, this has no chance. They're coming to the Chase Center for 2 games, and that's a different atmosphere. Don't get me wrong. Memphis was loud today. They came out for this game, but wait until they come to San Francisco. It's a different environment, and any team that's played against the Warriors. Who was it? Was it the Pelicans coach who said it was too loud at Oracle after Game 1? It just got louder in Game 2. So yeah. Speaking of predictions, what do you have in this series
Well,
here?
I think the Warriors do not have excuse me, Memphis Grizzlies do not have enough to keep up with this team offensively. I think they're a rugged team. They can play hard defensively. They can push the Warriors, but ultimately a couple of things are going to prevail for the Warriors. One, Draymond Green coming back that's one. The second thing is going to be the fact that they have, like you said, that championship experience, and they'll be playing smarter, not harder. And Memphis is just going to be playing harder. And I think ultimately that's going to win out because you're going to have guys that are spent. You have a coach in Steve Kerr that's going to be willing to play guys like Kuminga, that has a Jordan Poole. He can pull off the bench. He's got a lot more assets to play with to spread the minutes out. And Memphis doesn't. Memphis has great bench players, but they just don't have, outside of Ja, huge impact players. You're really asking guys who are 7 or 8s to be 10s in order to win this. You know what I mean? Versus the Warriors already have players that are elite. And so those elite players, and keep in mind, Curry didn't have a great game. I mean, there's a lot more that the Warriors can do versus what Memphis can do. And that's why I think the Warriors will win in 6 games.
6. We got them in 6. Well, we're going to reference, I'm going to take the Warriors here. We're going to reference back to circa 2015. I'm taking the Warriors in 5. I just don't think Memphis comes out of San Francisco with a win. If they get a win, it's Tuesday night. I just don't think they're going to have it to really compete with this team on the road here because you're not getting a break from them. And I think what the Warriors did was can Memphis learn with that defense just kept sagging off of players every single time. And they forced you to shoot the 3. So you're not getting a running head start to the basket because the guys are halfway there. They're beating you to it.
Yeah.
So they're forcing them to beat them outside of the paint there. And it showed today. If it wasn't for Jackson's 31, it's not a close game.
Yeah,
but also Jordan Poole's 31, Warriors may not win.
True that. Next game, look for a lot more high pick and roll. They need to be they should be setting screens for Ja at the 3-point line. And they went away from that. You know, they started doing it more in the paint, and it really gave the Warriors a pretty easy opportunity to just slide on over and block them off. So I think if they go back to doing that, bring your big out to that 3-point line, give Ja a head start, or at least force the Warriors to pull their defense up and get other guys open. I think that's what's going to work for Memphis. So I think Memphis gets the next game. I think you guys go up 3-1, and then they win one more game, and then that's it in 6. So I think that's how it's going to be. So we got another chat said someone's a hater from Victoria. Someone's a hater? One of us is a hater? I don't know who we're hating. I don't know who we hating on. I guess we hating on Memphis, huh?
Well, rightfully so. I'm not trying to... on the Facebook chat, we got my boys from Hawaii, James and Timmy. James says, I want to see Brian's jumper. I ain't shot a basketball in 3 years, so I'll poke you in the eyes if I flick my wrist. As much as I don't like Draymond, you got to respect the defense, and you have to. I wouldn't compare him to Dennis Rodman, though, because Dennis Rodman doesn't control the offense as Draymond would as well.
Yeah.
But, yes, his defense is just – when it's not there, it is just so missed. But the Warriors really, really rallied around that flagrant 2 today and just took charge of that. And it was just nice to see because they could have folded that game in and just said, screw it. But They came out with even more energy after losing their leader.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
don't just
I know how.
you're gonna slap some. Just keep it chill,
Exactly,
man.
man. Hey, I know how great Draymond is. He's just annoying. Let's just come on. He's just annoying.
Just like
He's annoying.
Sherman when he became
Yeah,
a
he's
Niner. We
he's,
all
he's
hated him
annoying.
until he became a Niner.
Extremely annoying. So let's transition into the other game, which I thought would be a lot better, but just didn't quite pan out the way I wanted. We got a couple of chats here. There's always fishing in the off season for the Warriors. And now we're just now
Oh,
we're just trolling. I mean, come on now, the
yeah,
Warriors aren't going anywhere.
we should get June after
They're
raising the
not gonna
trophy.
win.
We'll do that.
Memphis ain't winning this series. All right, so now we're gonna move on to Boston and Milwaukee. So, I coming in this game, I thought the Celtics would take game one because Middleton was out, obviously, and Holiday showed up. Giannis, I mean, the team as a whole defensively was very good, and
Holy,
it was just, I mean, Boston really got close in the third quarter, but in the fourth quarter, you know, Milwaukee went to the bench, put the championship crown on, went out on the floor, and they just completely, just dismantled them. They had a hard time playing small with the bigs that the Milwaukee was playing. They were playing Lopez and Giannis in the same lineup at more often than not, and that really paid dividends for them on the offensive boards and also just points in the paint. So I think Boston's got to really figure out what they need to do to get easy shots for themselves because Milwaukee made it very, very difficult. Milwaukee was the tougher team. They were the more physical team. I mean, you had Holiday backing down or Al Horford. Like he posted up Al Horford and bullied him under the basket and shot a layup. I'm like, no, this game's over. So kudos to them, man. They look like the team of old. I guess we sleep on them because I guess we forget that they won the championship last year. You know what I mean? So, hey, they handle
well,
business.
let me ask you this. With that being said, Marcus Smart got hurt
Yeah.
today. Do the Celtics have a chance
Yeah.
without him?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how bad this injury is. I haven't seen any reports on if this is going to go over a few games, but keep in mind Middleton is out too. I mean, so both teams are facing injury problems right now. I think the Celtics have an opportunity. The difference is going to be for a young team like this is you think you've played at your best level in the previous series and you didn't. You swept the Brooklyn Nets. So the team that you play with the Nets isn't as good as Milwaukee is, okay? And no, seriously, like you think because you beat the Nets in 4 games that you're a better team, but you're not. You haven't played a good team yet. So now they're playing good team, which means that they have to elevate the level of their play. And if you're going to be Milwaukee, they have to elevate the level of their play. They have to be more consistently good offensively and, of course, defensively. And they're going to have to raise another level. And until they, as a young team who's trying to figure all that out, it's going to take some time. So we'll see if they can turn that switch or crank it up 2 more notches to get a win in the next game. But this is sort of a learning curve for them. They're playing a championship team. That's really what this comes down to. You got to step it up.
I think when you look at the Celtics, they're in the same position as Memphis right
Yeah.
now. You're playing championship. You're playing a championship
Right.
team that knows how to get it. And so it's time to elevate. If you want to be on that upper echelon of this conversation with those, because you look at it, those are the two printouts. I'll put the Suns in that conversation, but they don't have championships under their belt
No,
of
not
late.
yet. No.
So this is the measuring stick for the Celtics. Yeah, you beat a Brooklyn team that only had 2 decent players, but they didn't have the best player in the world right now, which is Giannis.
Right.
And he changes everything around that team.
Right.
And you got to find a way to beat him. If that's your number one guy to stop right now. Once you stop Giannis, it's gonna force them to have to figure it out from there.
Right.
I don't think Drew Holiday is going to pick up this. He'll pick up the scoring, but I don't think it's going to be drastic.
Right.
But if you can limit Giannis, then you give yourself a chance there. But that's what they need to figure out is that a lot of teams don't know how to do is how do you slow down
Yeah.
Giannis?
Pick it up. Yeah.
I mean, he takes 3 steps and he's underneath the basket, starting from the backcourt. I mean,
You
you
gotta do
can't.
what the Raptors did,
That,
man. 3-1. They were
yeah,
running three guys in the paint. I mean, that's ultimately what we got to do and really force other guys to make shots. So hopefully they can figure that out. But that remains to be seen. I think the Celtics do win the next game because they are at home, and I think ultimately this is one of those series that's kind of tough to guess. So um, it's all about what the
you take.
Celtics do. I think I really like the Celtics. I think they do pick their game up, and I think this ends up going 7 games. So I think this is a 7 game series as it's a toss up. I'm gonna say 7 games to Milwaukee, but it's I think it's gonna be a little bit better of a series than what we saw in this first game.
Okay. Um, I thought you were gonna say the
I
Celtics.
wanted to.
You,
I wanted to.
it looks like you wanted that Laker fan to try to get
All right.
you out of
It's like they can't win one more championship.
that Laker fan. Like came
Hell
out real
no.
quick here. I'm taking the Celtics. They got something to prove. I think they have a little more experience than Memphis does. I think this will be the come out party for Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
I think after this loss here, I think you're going to get a different Jason Tatum for the rest of the series here. Um, I think Al Horford is going to be the one that needs to step up. His
Yeah.
job is going to be honest.
He
I
looked
think
worse.
Al Horford is going to have the bigger responsibility of this team here. But I'm going to say Celtics though. I got to go with the young team here. I'm not shooting on Memphis because they're playing my team, but I'll go with the Celtics in 7. I think the Celtics go in 7 here, take this series, and get back to the Eastern Conference Finals
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. All right, so who else we got? Well, we got 2 more games that haven't happened yet, so we'll spend a little time on these. Miami and the Philadelphia 76ers. So I'll start off with Embiid being out is the biggest thing here, to be honest with you. I mean, if Embiid is out the first couple of games, then in my opinion, that really changes the series. I don't know if Embiid. I don't know if Embiid can, if Embiid can come back in enough time to save them if they end up in a 2-0 hole. I think the Heat are prime. They're a good defensive ball club. They play hard. They're very similar to the Memphis Grizzlies. That these teams we're talking to Boston Celtics, but the difference is they have more. They have more experience. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pick Miami on this one. I think Miami wins this series. I think Miami wins it in 6. I'm being safe. Miami in 6, and I just don't. I don't like the pressure. I don't like the fact that Harden has to be the one to carry the load if Embiid is out. I don't believe in him in that way to where he can put them on his shoulders and carry them to win. How you feel about it, B?
He's not. I think this will be Maxi's big time moment
Yeah,
here. If Sixers have a chance, yes, all the pressure's on James Harden right now,
yeah,
and we all know how he was pressured when he was in Houston, having to get past the Warriors here. But this is different here. I just think Miami's going to be too much. It's all going to depend if Embiid comes back.
right.
If he comes back in Game 3, it's a different series here. But that is just so up in the air right now. The dude's got a fraction. What is it? A fractured
Orbital,
orbita?
yeah, bone,
Yeah,
face.
and he had a concussion too. I mean, they were blowing him out. What's he doing in this game? In this
Good
closeout game,
question.
that didn't make
Good question.
just didn't make any sense here. And so
That's on Doc
a
Rivers.
part
Good old Doc.
of me wants to go with the Sixers. A part of me
Yeah.
does, but you can't trust James Harden. He didn't even show up against Toronto, and you expecting them to show up against the number 1 team in the East. I'm going Miami. I go Miami in 5. They close it out
Dang, 5.
at home.
Man. All right.
5.
Well,
Yeah,
let's move on to a
yeah.
game that could be kind of interesting, or in my opinion, this one's kind of weird to me. You've got the Suns who have been playing great all season, but now with Booker being out, they're not quite the same, are they? It's not the same team. So the Mavericks looked pretty good. The Mavericks went out and handled business, even without Luka. Brunson looks good. They still don't have Tim Hardaway Jr., I don't think. Luka Doncic comes back and takes a couple of games to get into game shape, but he gets it done. And I think this might be a better game than than anticipated. And I'm really hoping for a close series. Well, at least close games. I think the Suns have been the better team all season, so I'm really just looking for some Luka magic because honestly, I want to see something interesting in all of these games, and this is one of those where I feel like if Luka goes for 40, 30, 40, 50, like this could be one of those type of games where he can win a couple of games, and I would like to see that, even if they lose the series. But I just don't want to see the Suns just run them. So I definitely got the Suns winning the series, though. They've been so good all year, and a lot of it depends on how well Booker's playing. But I think the Suns winning six. I keep going with six, safe bet. Suns winning six, and but I think the Mavericks. I think Luka will have some big games to make it interesting.
I like the point guard matchup. You have a different dynamic in point guard matchups in this one here. It's Chris Paul and Luka, both who are great facilitators, but know how to create their own shot as well. And I'm not taking anything away from other point guards, but this is just a different style. Luka is a step back creativity guy. Chris Paul is a mid range. I can get to my spot at any point and hit that mid range jumper there. This is it's I love that matchup there, and I think Luka is going to be up for the challenge here. Devin Booker played in the closeout game. I didn't see he didn't look all that impressive.
He had about 13 points. He didn't look that great. It was all Chris Paul who went, what was it, 14 for 14 or something? 33 points. Perfect. Yeah, he didn't miss a shot. So, yeah, old guys making it happen, man. OG.
I think what's giving Dallas this big shot is Brunson, who is coming out of his shell, and then Dinwiddie. I mean, that's a pretty experienced guy that they have on that side to go for points here. And you can even ask Dinwiddie to come off the bench to provide that extra spark, if they wanted to. But obviously, I think Aiden's going to eat in the paint. Dallas has no match for him at all. But if they could win the point guard battle and the bench battle, I actually like Dallas in 7. I'm going to go Dallas in 7 on this.
Whoa, what?
I think we get a 7-game series out of this. It will be the under the radar bracket here. They will be the under the radar series here.
Does this have something with Booker dating a Kardashian, or what's happening here?
It's the Kardashian.
It's the curse. Is that too. What this is? This is the Kardashian curse.
He's spending too much time with Kendall Jenner, even though her name's Kardashian, she's part of that family. It's definitely going to be a curse
Booker,
for him.
Didn't you see what happened to the rest of them, bro? Don't do it, man.
Have you seen what happened to Lamar Odom, Reggie Bush?
Yeah, man.
What was it? Chris Humphries. Who else? Oh, man.
Kanye West. Not an athlete, but Kanye's suffering right now. He's not having a good time.
Or Kanye,
oh man, he all on Facebook, IG, talking mess about. Oh my goodness, man! Look, oh man,
Kanye, we miss you. Come back. Just don't come back with the Kardashian.
No man, just.
But that's for another. That's for another topic there. Okay, so just to highlight it here, Taj Mahal, you've got the Warriors in 6. You've got Milwaukee in 7. And Miami and Phoenix both in 6. And then I've got the Warriors in 5, Celtics in 7, Miami in 5, and Dallas in 7. Right. So our trend is 5 and 7, at least for me. Yours is 6 and 7 as well here. So
that's right.
Can't wait to see safe. Those are going to absolutely here.
All right, so I guess we're going to transition sports, and we're going to jump into the NFL. And of course, over the weekend there was the just momentous occasion at the Las Vegas Raiders host.
They had that shit at Bellagio water.
Ice Cube's on stage hollering, "North Vegas!" And the Raiders. And the Raiders don't even have a first round draft pick. So what the hell are we talking about?
The Niners.
Let's start with your team because it's a lot more interesting. The Raiders, again, as I mentioned, did not have a first round draft pick, so not a whole lot to report, to be quite honest with you. However, there were no moves from your team. What's up with that?
Oh no, there was a move. there was a stupid ass move. Marquise Brown gets traded to the Cardinals
Oh,
to go team up with Kyrie, with midget Kyrie. I can't even pronounce this. Kyler Murray. God damn
Kyrie
it!
Irving?
It's
What the
hard.
hell?
I was call him Kyrie
Kyrie
Irving,
Irving,
but
Arizona quarterback. Kyrie Irving.
Baltimore lost a lot of weapons. Now, granted, they started the season with damn near half the team on the bench, all with torn ACLs.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a first. And instead of seeing what this core could have been, they go and get rid of one of their only top wide receivers. Sammy Watkins was the other one, and he didn't even. I mean, he's not a number one. He's more like a
number. Yeah.
And then they don't tell Lamar Jackson about it. Like, if you're gonna get rid of your best wide receiver, shouldn't you let the guy who's throwing the ball know about this? I mean, I know it's up to the GMs. I know it's up to management, but he's coming up on another contract here. So you could,
man. I mean,
is he going to stay when he doesn't have targets to throw? And then on top of that, they don't draft a wide receiver to help him out or go find another one. So it just blew my mind that they would do something that ridiculous without fixing the problem after that.
Well, man, I mean, unless they got a trade in the works or they're working on bringing some wide receiver in, I don't know. You know, the Ravens, the team is, you guys, you know, you do good for the better part of the regular season, and y'all are always kind of around that 500 mark once we start getting towards the playoffs. So I don't know, man. I don't think you guys are providing enough talent, as you mentioned, around your quarterback to really take advantage of what he's capable of doing, and obviously taking away Hollywood Brown and trade him to the Cardinals. It doesn't really make much sense, and
now you get a small quarterback thrown to another small receiver.
I don't
on the field around, man. But I think here's the bigger news outside of this draft here is Debo didn't go nowhere.
Yes. So what's up with that? So, you know, Debo Samuel obviously asked for a trade. So the idea was the Niners would more than likely trade him prior to the draft, or at least for draft capital. But in at the end of the day, nothing happened. So what's the play here? I mean, are the Niners are they going to pay Debo? Is that what we're getting? Are they going to try to sit him in a room and say, hey, man, I know you want to be traded, but we want to keep you? I mean, is that the long-term play here, or what?
This was very interesting because at first Debo controlled all of this here.
Yeah.
And now the Niners are back in control because they didn't budge on that on his call. And I don't think that's what he was expecting out of it. I think he still wants out, but I think the Niners are going, look, no, you're going to listen to what we have to offer. This is what we're going to offer for you. To me, I still think he deserves to be paid. Any money he's requesting, you got to give it to him, because if you are going to make him a running back and wide receiver, he's got 4 years left in the NFL before he can't do it no more. So, yeah, pay him if that's the case. But if the Niners have control back now, without them budging and getting rid of them for any draft picks, now they have the floor. So now it's going to be interesting on what they do. Are they going to make Debo happy enough so it's not a cancer when it gets to training camp? Because training camp's only a couple months away. OTAs are about to kick off very shortly, and then we get into training camp, and there's still this. We still got they still have a Jimmy G situation that looks like he may be the quarterback in week one.
And you don't want you don't want the Antonio Brown effect, you know what I mean? You don't want guys on your team who are going to be sitting out or who, you know, feel like they deserve more, and it just makes the situation worse. So what we've seen from new age athletes is they're willing to sacrifice a little money to make more. I think they need to go ahead and make sure they get the guy paid. I think by not trading him in the draft, it does kind of say, hey, you're going to stay here. But the hope is that it's being communicated to Debo Samuel in a way that it's like, yeah, we want to keep you here, as opposed to it being a situation where it's like, no, you don't have a choice, like, you know, the Ben Simmons saga or something, where it's like, hey, sorry, you don't have a choice. That's just going to continue. That's just going to push the player further into that direction. So Hate to bring up Ben Simmons. Sorry, it's not comparable in this situation, but as far as as far as relationships,
shows up on
as far as relationships go
but
between ownership and players, you got to make sure you do it right.
but here's the other thing too. During this during the draft as well, this is not really going to help the Niners. AJ Brown just picked up $100 million to go to Philadelphia,
Yeah,
and that's another Debo. That's another card Debo's going to play
yeah,
now. Is are you going to say that AJ Brown is a better wide receiver or overall player than Debo? If you're going to compare it, I think AJ Brown is a better wide receiver because he gets used as a wide
right.
receiver. But overall, Debo is the better athlete because he could play running back and he could do that. So now he's going to look at that contract on top of the Tyreek Hill contract and go, that's the number the Niners are going to have to get to
Yeah,
now. They got to be in that close to 100 million range if they want to keep him.
yeah,
Are you going to?
and it's what you mentioned. I know we talked about this before. Is waiting too long. You know what I mean? I mean, once you know the guy's good, get him paid. And they've waited a little long, and that's going to hurt them. You know, the Tyreek Hill trade. Like you're talking about with AJ Brown. These things are all situations that make it more difficult to negotiate with the player. And we got a comment from Saito or Cito. I hope I'm saying.
Cito, Uncle
Said
Cito.
pay Depot what he's earned will put a positive mindset, or put him in a positive mindset that could spread throughout the team and putting the Niners back into contention. And the Niners are in contention for sure. The question is, without Debo, will they still be? And I think the answer is no. So yeah, no, I absolutely agree. As we've been saying, pay the guy what he's worth. Don't penny pinch, because in the long run, you know, the 49er and the 49er fans are all about playoffs and championships. That's how it is. So I don't see them.
All the
Would
19.
Here we go. And they did go to the Super Bowl not that long ago, just out of respect to him. Hey, whoa. Watch out, Ravens fan. Hey, watch out now.
Hold on. Because it was the draft, and I love hearing you talk about this. I need you to tell me, Mr. Raider fan, worst draft pick you guys have ever had.
The worst draft pick we've ever had? Oh, very easy. Oh, it's Jawalrus. Jawalrus Russell. Jawalrus Russell was the worst draft pick we ever had. I mean, the guy had a great showing in the bowl game with LSU, and we took the guy. We took it. Fish line and hook and sinker, and Al Davis was so enamored with this guy because he could throw the ball 60 yards on his knees. Under what circumstance would that even matter? Everybody knows in football, when your knee touches the ground, you are down, right? It's over, right? That's the end of the play. So this is the kind of stupidity that was involved in making this decision, just to give you an idea, okay? The guy only started like a handful of times. I want to say less than 20. And when he got in the game, all he did was, backpedal and fall flat on his butt. My favorite play is him hiking the ball from center, backpedaling faster than his legs could actually move, falling on his butt and fumbling the ball. Seriously. It was terrible. That was the stupidest draft pick. I mean, come on, man. In my book, that's worse than Ryan Leaf. At least Ryan Leaf had mental problems. I don't know what was Jawalrus was. I don't know what he was doing. I mean, well, we found out what he was doing later. He was on codeine apparently, but he was, codeine and cheeseburgers, an interesting mix. I don't.
That's straight from the South.
Oh my gosh!
Straight
man.
from the South. They're in cheeseburgers.
Trash,
hey,
man.
there was. What I gotta ask you this. I know you watched a little bit of the draft there. How many? You ever see those people cheer when the draft pick comes in?
Yeah.
And do you ever think they know exactly who the hell that player is? I'm gonna be the first one to tell you. I watch a lot of college football. Barely knew anyone coming out of this draft. But watching people straight cheer, going, yeah, what a great pick. It's like, dude, have you ever watched them play? Like,
I mean, after the first round, let's be real, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm just being real. And there are some second round picks that do well, but as far as TV entertainment goes, the first round is all that matters. And after that, who cares? As I said, the Raiders, they didn't pick in the first round. So even though it was in their city, and they had Ice Cube and Derek Carr up there on stage, we probably should have just drafted Ice Cube. I mean, just to make it interesting. And with the first pick of the first round of the first draft, the Raiders select
Trip walk all the way through the stage.
Rapper Ice Cube from South Central California. Ice Cube struggling. Anyway, so the Raiders have done well in the free agent pool, especially picking up Devontae Adams. Most of the players that they pick from the third round on is not really much I'm that excited about. These are guys that we may only see in preseason, if that, and I don't know if any of them are going to have it. I mean, we got Waller, we got Winfro, we got Adams, we've got a nice offensive unit. We brought Derek Carr back. We gave Crosby the money to play on the end. We still got what was this guy's name? Colin Farrell, I think, the defensive back. I was surprised that we didn't extend Jacobs, our running back. I'm not sure what that was about. He had some injury issues throughout last season, but I thought he was really good when he was healthy. So I don't know what their plan is at the running back position. They drafted a couple in the draft this time, but we're talking 4th round, 6th round. I mean, who knows? So unless they got a feather, they got something they're going to pull out their butt. I think this is what we're going to see going into the season. So yeah.
Hey, the Niners have Mr. Irrelevant on the team, and you never know what could happen. They had the last pick of the draft and went with a quarterback. Let's just make things interesting. We got a quarterback, bum, shoulder, and thumb. We got another quarterback who we're praising all God to, and he's thrown 2 passes in college, and that's what we're banking on. Yeah. And then we have Mr. Irrelevant. So this quarterback, this is going to be some fun times listening to how San Francisco handles the quarterback situation here. But
man.
Who knows?
I think
they got a lot out in Santa Clara. I'll tell you
Garoppolo
that.
just wins by default, man. He's going to be the new Kirk Cousins. I mean, it's just going to be.
Dude, if he's on the team, are you going to tell me you're going to start Trey Young over him in week 1?
Not. It's probably not.
I mean,
yeah, Lance. You said Trey Young.
Right.
You mean Lance? Trey Lance? Trey Young? Damn, what? Damn, they drafted Trey Young from the Atlanta Hawks to play quarterback? Now that's legit right there, B.
He's gonna be ice.
That's
cold.
How you feel about Garoppolo. Damn. That's rough, man. He said, bring in Trey Young. Forget it. I'm done. Oh, man. Oh, man. But, yeah, no. I know what you mean. Trey Lance. We'll see, man. He'll be getting like two plays a game like they did last season. This is stupid. Hey, yeah, man. You want to play for 3 plays? Go ahead. Throw him in there and see what happens. Yeah.
Here's $100 million right after that. You can have it, sir.
Every time they go to Jimmy G to fire him or trade him, it's just like, God, you're good looking. Just let him go back. I can't fire you. Yeah. My wife loves you. I'm sorry, I can't trade him. Anyway.
That's straight up. I think you slept with my wife.
Oh, man.
Oh, I ain't upset. She's a football player. I must be doing something exactly. Right.
He's got Subway commercials for no reason. Why is he doing commercials? What's he done? I mean, seriously, come on.
Jesus Christ.
Why?
I definitely.
Talking about is.
Oh, before we move forward, do y'all think Brady could miss the playoffs, thrusting him into retirement?
Brady ain't missing the playoffs, man. Let's just be real about it.
Can't bet against the man. It's just hard. It's just hard too.
I guess you got to look at the rest of the division that he's in and see if there's any other team that's gonna challenge them. I mean, who else is there? There's the Bucks, then there's the Saints, who have been. I mean, they lost Drew Brees and they've been trying to, I guess, somewhat build themselves back. Who else is in that crappy division? Anybody you can think of? Yeah. Atlanta,
and the.
Who else?
They're making the Panthers.
So the answer is no. Tom Brady will be in the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah, another NFL with Tom Brady. People
Get
get
used to
used to
it.
it.
He's back all the
Jeez,
way from San Mateo, California. Tom, I am
God.
so tired of you, Brady. Oh boy. All right, B. Well, let's transition to a little baseball, your favorite sport, and we're gonna actually talk about some interesting stories, though. Now, you brought me up to speed on this guy, pitcher, who seems to be striking out. What's going on, B? What's happening?
The thing is, he's striking out, and it's not striking out batters. He's striking out trying to get back into baseball. To be honest with you, Jesus. MLB suspended Trevor Bauer for 2 years and said, "No more of your ass." And for those who don't know, we will talk about this. Is there was accusations? I mean, there was text messages and everything of Trevor Bauer just going UFC on a woman in the bedroom here, and shockingly enough, it didn't hold up in court, and that's what blows my mind. But the backstory to this is there were text messages of her telling him to bring the pain even before they got together. And so, I mean, regardless, what he did was wrong. Like,
You
I'm
can't
not a fan of that
WWF.
at
I
all.
mean, you can't go in there
You can't.
like Diamond Dallas Page and DDT, and
Oh,
I mean,
none of that. But the thing is it gets thrown out in court, right? And so MLB starts just pushing back, pushing back. No, you ain't playing. You ain't
yeah,
playing. So finally, this past week, they go, "You're suspended for the next 2 years." Literally, the day after that news broke, a woman comes out saying she was abused by Trevor
yeah,
Bauer, and this has the making of a Deshaun Watson. It it just took one voice,
right,
and the other voices came
right,
out, and that's what's happening now here. It's only one, but all it takes is one, and it can build up more like that. So baseball's got to find a way to keep this guy out of conversation
yeah,
here, but you're not going to be able to here. Suspending him for 2 years, yes, agree to it 100% here, but what's next is going to happen here. There's going to be more. I guarantee you, there's probably going to be more women coming
yeah,
out, and this is going to go back to trial here. So the fact that it got thrown out so early and no evidence. I mean, there were pictures, there were text messages of everything here. Now, Trevor Bauer was very cooperative with everything and kept in contact with the woman, but at the end of the day, here it was. And you know what's funny? They keep bringing this up because a female judge threw this out, and that's what was kind of, I was like, oh shit, this chick really doesn't have enough here. So it's interesting how this is going to play out here because of that. We all see what Deshaun Watson went through with
yeah,
all the allegations
and
that got
yeah,
it.
and Deshaun was a serial groper or whatever the hell he was doing, but it's like, bro, you're
It wasn't
why massage parlors? Are you okay? Anyway, but let's move past Deshaun and let's talk about this. So, I think when you're in a position of power like that and you have money, you're an athlete, you make a lot of money, you got to be a little bit more careful about these kind of things. A woman tells you punch her in the face, and even though she's being consensual, you probably shouldn't do that. Okay, let's just be real. I
nope.
mean, you got money, you got a lot to lose. Don't do stupid stuff. You know what I mean? Somebody comes at you with some weird
Yeah,
request like that, man. If I was him, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? I don't do that.
I'm
I'm
good.
good. I'm good.
Nope. I'll skip this night.
Exactly.
I was like, damn.
Yeah, you would know. No.
But
So, yeah, just bad decision making. And like you said, the league has to protect itself. It doesn't have any money to lose. So obviously, the last thing they want to do in this day and age is be at the front of a domestic violence situation. You saw what happened with the NFL. The NFL went through a ton
yeah,
of that. So
ooh,
so you don't want that. You do not want that publicity, and so the league, the MLB, is trying to get in front of that ASAP. So makes sense to me.
I think it's even better for me because he's wearing a Dodger uniform.
Oh
So
yeah,
every
right.
picture that's in there is him in a Dodger
Yeah,
uniform. I
enjoy
don't
it.
like what he's done, but I love the publicity that the Dodgers are getting.
Bad publicity, yes.
Seasons. Oh, I
Yeah,
love it.
of course you do.
Hey, um, I know you're an Oakland guy, born and
Yeah,
raised, and we talked about it last week on how the A's just drew 2,000 people at the at the Coliseum for their opening day. But then the A's and Giants got together for a quick 2-game series, and Oakland's GM went out and on a fucking limb and said, "How come nobody's talking about all the fans at 18 or at Oracle Park?" And I'm sitting there, I'm like, "Hold on, wait a sec. It's only the first inning. By the fourth inning, it was at a decent crowd, but you're trying to compare 3,000 people to 20,000 people. Can you enlighten me on how that is? And being an Oakland native that you are, and
It's
watching
just
teams
look,
leave,
it's
this isn't a good look for Oakland at all to sit there and try to compare something like that. Like, you just can't do that.
well, first off, it's what you call hurt pride. Okay, it's hurt pride. It's that you've got a stadium that's only 10, 15 miles away, probably less than that. That is state of the art. More attendance, and that makes you feel some kind of way. And I think that's what this is. This is the little brother being upset at the big brother, because he's taking all the candy, and I think that's what it comes down to. Him being upset about a brand new the Oracle stadium versus O.co. We everybody in this area, including across the nation, that's seen either one of these stadiums, understand that the Oakland Coliseum was built in the 60s. Okay, people? It was built in the 60s, all right? They added some stuff to it. They put up that extra row of seats up at the top. They tried to put in press boxes, different thing, luxury box, whatever. It's still a very old and archaic stadium. It is not state of the art anymore. It's been old for a very long time now. And there's nobody
Cats,
that doesn't know that. So
yeah,
I think for him to try to do this is just him. It's hurt pride, because he can look across the water and see that there's a nice new shiny toy, and he's mad that he doesn't have one himself. And so it's just trying to save face a little bit and hurt pride. I think that's all it is, man. At the end of the day,
and the other thing too, he's not trying to keep the team in Oakland, because if he really was, the stadium on Jack London Square would have been halfway
yeah,
built already.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so that's no one's fault but yours and the city of Oakland. Like,
yeah,
get that fixed.
yeah,
If they would have given the Warriors a brand new arena, they're not coming to San Francisco.
yeah,
If they would have given the Raiders a brand new stadium, you have a team in Oakland.
yeah,
But that's just the problem is the Niners wanted to stay in San Francisco. San Francisco did not want a new stadium. They couldn't come to an agreement. So Santa Clara comes here and goes, "I will build you guys a new stadium." Look what happens.
yeah,
They
exactly.
see it. We're going to a state of the art. You can't sit there and tell me teams who have been in these stadiums for so long that aren't Wrigley, aren't Fenway, aren't Yankee Stadium.
Right.
Even Yankee Stadium got rebuilt.
Boston Garden, Madison
Boston
Square
Garden,
Garden.
you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? If you're not on that echelon, you deserve a new stadium. These teams deserve these new stadiums, and you're not giving it to them. And there's cities thriving for professional sports, and so they're going to give it to those cities here because the cities say, here's $2 billion, build yourself a fucking spaceship.
and dude, what it comes down to is broke owners, man. That's really what it comes down to. You're just not as rich as the other owners. I mean, because the difference between the L.A. Rams, the Rams being in St. Louis and being in L.A. is location, and what's his face, Crunky, whatever his name is, and the fact that he's a freaking billionaire, man. So when you
Yeah,
when you have the money and you can finance your own stadium, then no one can stop you. You know what I mean? And so the A's don't have that. The Raiders didn't have that. They have to have the city pay for a portion of it, and that's why you always end up in these back and forths. Nevada footed the bill because they're a tourist place, and because they're not as socially active as maybe a city like Oakland is, where you'll have people protesting and all this kind of stuff. So I think it's a difficult task. It's a difficult task for a team to do in especially in the Bay Area, and unless you're funding it privately, like what like the Warriors did, it's going to be very difficult for you to ask for tax dollars from the city to pay for it. It's just not realistically in California. It's not going to happen. In most places, it's just not going to happen. So
and that's the unfortunate part. Oakland's going to lose.
yeah, no, they will, man. They'll be in Vegas with the They'll build a
Now
stadium
Oda,
right across the way from the Raiders Coliseum or
yeah,
whatever it is. Yeah,
another fucking Star Wars death ship over there.
exactly.
But yeah, it just sucks. O.co is now running in with cats and a bad plumbing system.
Oh yeah. Well, they've had a bad plumbing system for years. Yeah. So I mean,
Think that stunk. That
it
turns out
smells
it's just
smells like crap. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
it's the plumbing system. But yeah,
Well,
so
we brought this up last week, and we'll jump into this about commentators. So I put about who are our commentators that we think are just not very good, not up to par, and people that we just don't like in general. And so I had to do some soul searching and digging to find some names of people that either I just didn't care for, didn't like, or just got on my nerves. And I've got a weird list too, because I had to sit and think, and I really thought of some ones that were like, remember this guy? And he just didn't like.
that was hatred for a color commentator to sit there and dig into that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I want you to kick this one off here. Let's hear it.
So we pick 5. I'm going to stick with my 5. We're going to start with a couple of these guys, and a lot of these are mostly, we're going to talk about basketball and football, because that's what I remember the most, but we're going to start with one that's obviously terrible, which was the Dennis Miller experiments with the Monday Night Football, which was a complete abomination. Some idiot trying to tell jokes who wasn't even funny on television with football. It was
that one. That was one of the worst decisions ever. A guy with no football experience, color commentating on football on national television.
Well,
like
I don't know if you could call it color commentary. He just had random ass jokes about nothing. It was just stupid, man. The NFL didn't want rappers at halftime shows, but they put this idiot in the press box. So it's like I'm so confused. It's stupidity. So the next guy I got, I love this guy, Bill Walton. Oh, my favorite. I love Bill Walton. I love to hate Bill Walton. Bill Walton's the kind of guy that's over the top and is just out there, and this is a great play, and throw the ball, dunk the ball, big man, dunk the ball. And he's the guy that in the beginning in the first half, he's going, this team sucks, they're terrible, and by the time you get to the fourth quarter, they are the greatest team that has ever played the game of basketball. So a lot of drama with Bill Walton, and he's just
on that fucking. That's why, Jesus.
Yeah, no kidding.
Time.
No kidding, man. Yeah, Bill was all over the place, man. Bill was all over the place. He's one of my favorite. The other one, who's a Bay Area guy who played for the Warriors for a little while, is Tom Tolbert. Tom Tolbert was like Bill Walton but younger. He kind of got on my nerves when he used to do the Warriors. He used to do the Warriors shows. He did radio for the Warriors for a while, and I didn't. Huh?
He still does the Warrior games on the radio.
Oh, he does. He still does it. Oh my God, I hate him. I hate Tom Tolbert. Tom Tolbert, he always thinks he's got these nice little, bits he wants to throw in there. He thinks he's funny. He thinks he's hilarious and clever, but. I really don't want to hear from bad players about basketball. I really don't. I really don't. I mean, Tom, you weren't very good. Let's just be real. And then last on my list, this guy, John Gruden. I did not like John Gruden. It's complicated.
Really?
Gruden was crap, man. Gruden was like the know-it-all. I know everything that's gonna happen, and you just gotta. And he's got that damn Midwestern accent. Exactly. It's like, John, what the hell's wrong with your left eye, bro? Are you okay? So it's just
straight entertainment.
Yeah, it was straight entertainment. He got on my nerves. Get him off. Thank goodness. Oh, that was 4. Okay, my last one's a weird one. Austin Carr, who is the color commentator for the Cavaliers. You scratching your head. Huh? Yeah.
No, I just I know you brought him up. I was like, what'd he do to you? Let's hear this.
He has the most, horrendous voice that kind of sounds like this, and it's just annoying as all hell. And he's always got these extracurricular comments about players on the opposing team. He's the epitome of the Homer commentator. Not that most of your commentators who are on the local networks aren't homers, but usually you get some type of realistic commentary about your team and the other team. For instance, the Lakers. Our commentator is Stu Lance. Stu Lance has been around forever. Stu Lance will talk crap about the Lakers if they play bad. Right? If they're not playing good, he'll say it. This guy, it's everybody else's fault. It's everybody else's fault. And I can't stand the guy. I had NBA Network for a couple of years, so I got a chance to hear a lot of the different commentators, and he was by far the most homerish, just making up excuses for his crappy Cavaliers team every single game. It was terrible. So on to you, sir.
I'm gonna start this off. Now he's not really a color commentator. He's on Inside the NBA. But he talks sports. I'm gonna put him in this category. Kenny the Jet Smith.
Oh, yeah,
I cannot stand.
Yeah, Kenny's whack. Yeah, I agree with you.
He talks about all this big talk, and I love when Charles Barkley and Shaquille just put him in his place. Like, you weren't shit going into these championship games. Like, I mean, granted, Charles Barkley never won a championship, but I bet you people talk more about Charles Barkley than they do Kenny the Jet Smith.
Yeah.
And dude, he talks, it's just like, yo, you have an excuse for everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys watch the show, but they race to the board, and he's crying about something every single week, and it's like, dude, you do nothing but complain. That's just my little small one there. Number 4, Tony Romo.
Oh, you don't like Tony? I love Tony. Oh, come on.
Because he's sitting there and he calls out the next play, and it's like it unfolds, and it's like, okay, we get it. You know football, right, but kind of just take yourself away from the game and do what a color commentator does. You can diagnose a replay, but when I hear the next play being called out before they even break the huddle, it's like, dude, if you were that good, you'd have won yourself a championship.
Right. Still being uniform.
Good God. Number 3, Troy Aikman. Another Cowboy. Why are all these Cowboy quarterback color commentators, man?
Troy's pretty stiff, bro. He's pretty stiff.
One, Troy Aikman looks like he'd be smoking way too much weed prior to these games, because when you look at his eyes, they're about as glazed as a glazed donut on there. And he just points out the obvious. Oh, well, he got away from the pressure well, did good enough to throw the ball away. It's like, we just saw that. We understand that, dude. If you don't have anything good to say, just like find something else to be creative about. But when you sit there and tell me you saw that, I've seen it. Thank you. I don't need to be reported. I don't need to be reported back to that. Number 2 is a more recent color commentator, and it's Kalena Azubuike from My Own Warrior TV broadcast. I cannot stand.
You know why you can't stand him? Because your boy is gone. Because he replaced your boy. That's why.
Jim Barnett was
the
best we ever
the best
had.
The best.
To listen to him, and then now Kalena gets on the mic. Listen to him disrespect that guy by jumping to the rim. It's like, dude, I can't. I don't want to hear that. Like, Jim Barnett brought a different side of basketball. He made Bob Fitzgerald really good here, but since Kalena Azubuike joined the show, he made Bob Fitzgerald worse than what he is. And it's just, I can't stand listening to Kalena Azubuike talk. It drives me absolutely nuts. So as much as people hate national television, I'd rather listen to that and then listen to Kalena Azubuike all fucking
absolutely
night.
I
all
agree
night.
Because this is the same thing with Tom Tolbert. I have a hard time listening to players when I saw you play and I know you were trash. Do I really want to hear what you have to say? I mean, how long was Kalena Azubuike on the Warriors, B?
Are you talking when he played or when he was hurt? Because there's two different stories to that.
I don't know. Him being on the floor. Like, I remember maybe a good 2 to 3 years at the most.
At most there. I'd rather much have him on the pregame with Darrell Wright, Chris Mullins. I actually like that. Yeah. I like Darrell Wright, Chris Mullins on. But I just can't stand Azubuike, man. Like, please bring back Jim Barnett. Why'd y'all get rid of him for? Bring him back. Make the TV scene better. But my number 1 Tim McCarver. And he used to do the baseball games um, on national TV and in the World Series as well. But God, dude, it was just like that was the guy Deion Sanders threw water on. I don't know if you saw that
No, I didn't
clip
see
from
that,
back in
man.
the day when the Braves won the championship. Deion Sanders took a bucket of ice and just chucked it on him, and he goes, "That's real classy, Sanders." He's over here just dripping water and shit. Tim McCarver, those guys going, you know, before the pitch on a 3-2 count. Oh, he needs to protect the plate. You don't want to go down swinging. I'm like, no shit, shoulder. The guy's got to protect. Like, you guys are. Don't tell something we all know.
If he hits the ball,
gotta swing.
then the ball will fly. Okay, that's like.
Look at the concentration in his eyes when he's making contact. No shit, McCarver. Oh man, we know this stuff already. You know what the funny thing is? Is like those are three guys. Two of them worked with Joe Buck, and Bay Area fans hate Joe Buck. Like I think everyone nationwide hates.
What's that about, man? Because I looked that up and I saw him come up on a lot of internet as far as worst commentators. What's the issue with Joe Buck, man?
I think it's his face. I think it's his voice. Like in the movie Step Brothers, I don't know what it is about your face. I don't know, punch you right in the face. Like I think that's just the vibe that he gives off with a lot of people.
I get some T-1000 vibes from him. You know what I mean? Just like, you remember how T-1000, his face never changed? You know what I mean? Yeah. He was like striking, but his face was just like this. You know, and I think that's Joe Buck. It's like there's no excitement in him. He has only one level, and that's blah. Boring as all hell. And so they can hit a home run, and Joe Buck will be like, he just hit a home run. Great home run.
You don't fucking say, dude.
It was awesome.
We appreciate that. But I think because of the fact that I've heard a lot of fans say he just doesn't give love to the Bay Area side of teams. That's all I know. But there's like a just deep hatred for Joe Buck here in the Bay Area. I think it's his face, honestly. I really think it's just his face here. You know, not much you could do about that. But
got that Kawhi Leonard, huh? Got that Kawhi Leonard going on. Kawhi, how you feel about the game today, Kawhi? I think it was a good game. How you feel about hitting the last shot against the Raptors? I made the shot. Oh, okay. All right, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, this conversation's over. Appreciate that.
Dad.
Hello. Thank you. This is my son, in case y'all didn't know. Say hello.
What's up, little man?
Go in there and close the door, please.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Guest appearance.
That's right.
From a future Laker fan. With no shirt on, birthday, like J.R. Smith. My son come in like J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith.
Celebrate. Celebrate. So I appreciate that.
Happy birthday.
I appreciate it, man.
Happy birthday to you, my brother. Hey, so we got a lot to look forward to this week. Good set of playoff games coming up. Me personally, I've got the Giants and Dodgers on Tuesday night. I can't wait. I'll be wearing my Beat LA t-shirt while I'm at work. Just God, I hope Dodger dog. They can spit it out. They'll spit it out. But hope you guys choke on
you and these damn Dodger fans. Man, I'm just looking forward to more NBA playoffs, man. This week we got game twos, which I think always sort of rectify and change things from game one. So game two will tell you if a team is going to be dominated or if we're going to see a more traditional back and forth. So somebody's going to go down 2-0. We got I'm actually curious to see how Harden plays in this upcoming game and to see if he's got any nuts. And then it's Devin Booker's health, really. I think that's those two things I'm looking forward to seeing. If does Harden really live up to all the hype he's received? Can he carry a team for a game or two? And is Devin Booker healthy, or has the Kardashian curse broke both of his ankles? That's really what it comes down to.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one, man.
Hey, KD, you enjoy watching the Warriors in the second
round? I
round
almost forgot about. We didn't talk about that, did we? Oh man. So for those who don't know, we've been talking a lot about the legacy of Kevin Durant based on some comments made about his time with the Warriors, and We talked about how the new kids are coming, how that may overshadow the years that KD has left to really prove to the world that he is the best player in the league, really at any point in time. And so it's looking like that didn't happen. They got swept,
He
and
went 8. He's good.
it was not a
Basketball player, not a great one. He is good.
wow. That's rough. I mean, I'll still say he's a great basketball player. That's just not a great basketball team. And I don't think that Kyrie Irving and his flat Earth is going to help them win anything. So I mean, let's just be real. That's why they lost. No wonder they lost, man. This boy's sitting up here throwing. He think he throwing a frisbee. That's a damn basketball. Put that anyway. But no, it's game over. They could come back next season. They could try to bring back Ben Simmons. These teams are better than they are. Let's just be real. The Celtics are not going to get worse next year. Milwaukee is not going to get worse next year. Miami's not going to get worse next year. The 76ers are going to get worse. So, good luck, Brooklyn. Good luck.
Hell no. What'd you get KD for leaving? Should have never left. You'd have been one of the all-time greats. You left.
He could have left. He should have shut up. He could have left and kept his mouth closed. That's all I'm saying. Don't say nothing. Don't get all bitter and get hurt because of some comment that's made, or just let it go, KD. Let it go. You're a great player, man. Now you should brush your hair, but that's a different conversation.
He brushes his hair, he's losing it, so that's why he ain't brushed it.
No. His hair been looking like that since Oklahoma City, man. That's why he losing it, because he never brushed it. The man looked like he been wearing a hat his entire life. And just took it off right before the game. I mean, come on, man. You remember Martin with Pam, the BDB buckshot? No, man. No, dude, just brush it, bro. Brush it, man. Come on, brush your hair, bro. Like, don't go out like that. I know you think you talk, we can't see, but we can see, man. We got cameras from up top on TV. You like Manu Ginobili trying to hide that 3 to 4 inch diameter hole he had in the top of his head. We all can see it.
You ever see the moon on a clear night? How you see that one bright patch?
Yeah,
what it looks like leaving the back of his head.
That boy head looking like a gorilla's elbows, man.
You deserve this, KD. If you'd have never done the players, you wouldn't be talking like this.
Oh, man.
Had it coming. All right, y'all. Well, Josh, happy birthday again, man. It's good to see your son making a appearance with us.
Yeah, man. Next time. Yeah, man. All day. And you see the basketball court behind me. Know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Where's my hand at? Okay, there it is. Bam.
Yep, there it is. I loved it. Yeah, we're gonna have some swag coming over to us soon. So
yeah. You want one of these? $55.99. Call me. No, I'm just playing. We ain't selling them. I was just something I got in my room. But if we do, I'll let you know.
Yeah. We appreciate the love and support, everyone. Like always, we've been at this for a month. All your guys' views, your subscriptions, your comments, all that there. We really love the support that you guys are showing to us, and we're just two guys loving to talk sports here, and having you guys interact with us, it means the world to us as we get to do this on a Sunday night here.
Absolutely. All right, B man. I think that's a wrap for us until next time.
Sir. Sunday night. Right. We will see you Sunday night, America.
8:00. All right, peace.
All right, y'all.